Okay. Shalom, everybody. I hope everybody's having a Tawab day. You know, we're in these dog days of summer, man. It's hope everybody's staying strong, fighting to be strong and potent and clear in the Most High in Christ. Before we go into our topic, are there any questions? I know I don't do this. I'm trying to provide that opening. Listen, because I don't tell anybody what is going to happen. There's nobody prepared, and then we go into the class. Maybe that's the setup anyway. I don't know. Okay.
A brother need a Hebrew packet.
Okay, we'll get you a Hebrew packet. That's a very doable thing. We had a bunch of them at one time. I'll get you one.
Okay.
I'll get you one. We had them in like little packet forms. I'll find them. It's probably in the back. We'll get them. Yeah. Work it out. Anything else? Okay. You know, what's been happening with our camp lately is kind of that feeling, you know, when the scripture says where there's good is, evil is present. And I think the more we take strides to push forward, the more we take strides to improve ourselves and to improve our mind and our spirit and to improve the overall growth of the body and the development of the camp and the school and so forth and so on. It almost comes off like with all the steps forward we take, there's always some type of negative blow or some type of negative interference that gets in the way of sustained progress. And because of that, I had another topic that I was already going to go over, but instead I kind of want to change the theme a little bit today and deal with a class called Withstanding the Pressure.
And can I say this right here? And all of us in our individual lives, this is the element of just life in general, and the truth. It's double on the truth.
Well, it's growth. It's new endeavors. It's new responsibilities. It's added responsibility, added pressure. The idea and the thought that more is going to get tacked onto you, because even when there's good there's just also the reality of more pressure, more responsibility, more need of attention to detail, more need to be thorough, more need to be disciplined.
Only 24 hours in a day.
So
the issue is, if we had more time, it wouldn't be a problem.
But then the crazy thing is this: we're going to go into that. But I think it's important that with all those things that are going on in our lives, and that pressure and that demand to continue to pushing at the output the Most High has expected for us, I always like going back to certain foundational scriptures and topics that always resettle and restabilize myself. Okay, and these are the chapters and verses that I think are always important to hold on to as we deal with issues day to day. So the first chapter we're going to go into today is 2nd Ezra, chapter 7. Now we're going to be doing a lot of bouncing off of that, because I don't want to sit back here and harp on this part like I did like a year or two ago. But I want to take something from this and kind of expand from there. So we're at 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, and verse 6, and we're going to kind of run down through like 24. But we're going to be doing a lot of stopping and going, so, you know, I want us to be conscious of that. So 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verse 6. And Shalom, Bachar. I hope you're doing good, brother, out there in Virginia.
2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verse 6. There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things.
So there's this city that's on this hill that's full of nothing but good things, blessings. We're going to eventually find out that city is the kingdom. That city is the kingdom of heaven, right? Read on.
The entrance thereof is narrow.
But the only catch to get to this large, plenteous, beautiful city, this beautiful kingdom, the entrance is narrow. The path to get to this wide space is very narrow. Read on.
The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall.
So it's also showing you, along with the fact that this path is narrow, it's very dangerous. It's very easy to slip and fall. Okay, read on.
Like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water.
He said, like it's fire on the left and water on the right. If we're dealing with water or fire, you're still dealing with elements that could destroy you. He's explaining, because it's very important that we take the time to understand and explain that narrow path. Everybody just wants to jump to the broad field, where everything is plenteous and fun, and everybody's smiling, and everybody's at peace, and everybody's blessed. But I don't think we understand the fact that the path to get to this broad place is so narrow. It's so difficult to cross over. The reason I say that is because when we deal with pressure, when we deal with the obstacles that the Most High provides to us in our life, there is still an element of why me? Why now? Why is it always something that gets in the way of, why is there always something new that gets in the way of progress? Why is there always monkey wrenches and issues that are always getting in the way of me trying to push forward? And I think for each and every one of us, there is an element of why. Why am I having to go through this? Why am I having to sustain this? Why is the Most High putting me through all these changes? Why is he sitting back here and constantly making me uncomfortable? Okay? So he's saying to get to this broad place, this path is very narrow, it's dangerous, it's very easy to slip. And to either side of you is either fire or it's water. Okay, read on.
Verse 8.
And the fire and water is this, based on deviation or unfortunate set of circumstances, I can end up in a different situation.
I can end up in a worse situation.
Yeah.
Something that's deadly to me.
Come.
Okay, now read on.
Verse 8. And only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be one man go there at once.
He's saying the path is so narrow, only one person can cross over at a time.
So what is that saying? When it says one, because one thing I know about Israel is Israel likes to pack up.
Mm-hmm.
We like support. We like somebody knowing that somebody's agreeing with us, or somebody's a brother with us, somebody's holding our hands, not in a bad way, but somebody's next to me. Or I'm watching a man go through, I'm going at the same time.
The reality is, because the path is narrow and one person can cross over at a time, it means that we have to find our own soul salvation with fear and trembling.
So my salvation is based off my actions. My
salvation is based upon how I deal with the stressors and issues that are brought in front to my life.
And we just
it's not another person's fault. It's not my surroundings is the reason why I act this way. The reality is, negative might be coming to me because I'm negative. People might be anti-me because I'm anti in the first place. Maybe the Most High is showing me negative people to show me how negative I am towards the Most High.
So the scripture says, that which a man sow, that shall he reap. That's a true proverb, right?
Yes. It's either that it's either the Most High is showing you in the negative, or the Most High is putting you in a situation where what you're going through is necessary to cross over to that broader place.
To get past the threshold of my life.
And you're not getting around the fact. None of us are getting around the fact that we're going to have to overcome and deal with difficult, straightened situations to get to a broader place. There is no getting around that. Everybody who is trying to run from this path and this direction isn't going to make it anyway. But let's keep going. It's going to explain that. Read on.
Verse 9. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 9. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance.
Now that land, that broad place was given for an inheritance. But the crazy thing is, it's an inheritance for our people. But we still have to earn this inheritance. And I just don't think a lot of times we look at it that way. For those of us who've been in this truth for 15, 20 some odd years, the Most High promised us the same thing for us who's been working for 20 years that he promised for somebody who's been in for 1 year. And what's that? It's that same damn penny.
Yep.
But a lot of times, we'll say if a person's been in the truth for 15 years, they're like, don't I deserve something more? I've been catching hell for years. I've been walking this narrow-ass tightrope Indiana Jones. When I read this verse, I think of Indiana Jones and the damn Temple of Doom. When he's on that raggedy-ass narrow path, and it keeps swinging, and that wood is dry rotted from 1,000 monsoons. You know that wood is brittle as hell. And the ropes are brittle, and you grab it and you hold it, and your body's moving out, and you're scared as cuss. Because one false step and you're dead. But for a person who's been doing it for 15, 20 years, you're like, damn, another battle? Another shaky? How long is this damn path? This is a forever path.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's narrow wood path after another. Because listen, it goes both ways. Because the new person is like, damn, this is insane. But the person who's been doing it for 15 years is saying what? Damn, this is insane. And they're saying the same damn thing. Let's not act like if you've been doing this for a long time, there's not a question in the back of your mind saying, how many more times do we got to cross these humps and cross these obstacles? How much longer do we have to go and endure? It's the same concept. But it's a reminder that whether the Most High called us 20 years ago, 25 years ago, or yesterday, we're all in the same boat, and we all have to keep walking this same narrow path in hopes that we get blessed on the end with that broad kingdom. Okay, give me verse 8 again.
God. Verse 8. The second Ezra chapter 7 verse 8. And only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be one man go there at once.
So it's one person can go there at a time. I can't make it off another person's spirit. I can't make it off another person's counsel. A lot of times sisters think that they can make it just because they listen to some words from their husband. You know what the Most High forces that sister to do?
You gotta believe for yourself.
Forces her to believe those words and live those words herself. Because whether you're a man or a woman, you got to live this life. And he's going to create scenarios to force each and every one of us into a position to make a choice. Are we going to cleave to the Most High? Or are we going to choose things our way and continue to be in a perpetual state of unhappiness, sadness, and depravity?
And war for control.
Exactly. Okay. Let's continue in verse 9.
Verse 9. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance.
Which that city is, that broad place is for an inheritance. It's a kingdom. Read on.
If he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance?
If we never pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? We're going to always, it is a stipulation that we have to deal with this danger until we get to the kingdom. The Most High has for each and every one of our spirits. Somebody give me Acts, I think it's 17 and 30. 17 and 30 or 18 and 30. One of the two.
Ignorance?
It's not ignorance. It's with much tribulation. There's going to be salvation. The kingdom of heaven. Yes, I thought it was 17 and 30, but it's in that same vicinity. Point is, he's telling us that there has to be this constant danger. Now the question is this: what type of danger is it? Is it physical danger? Is our life dangling right in front of our eyes every day? Or are we dealing with a constant threat or perceived threat of danger? Because that's what really works on each and every one of us. It's the idea or the anticipation of stress, the anticipation of not knowing what's in front of you, the fear of the unknown, the stress about what's going to happen next, the stress of how long can I sustain this level of effort, how long can I be on point before the Most High discards me.
How long do I walk this tightrope?
How long do I have to walk this Indiana Jones tightrope. Because when you walk on those tightropes, they're not like real firm and straight. You ever see that they're like really loopy? Those loopy ones, the wind's gonna get them out. Everything is messed up.
Looking to get to the next vine
And
right up.
listen, bro, it's really there's no confidence in that shaky damn pathway. And a lot
You
of
can't
times,
lose focus, because if you lose focus, you're gonna slip off.
exactly, you can't listen. Your arms have to be like, I'm holding on to every single piece of this messed up twine. I'm taking double steps to make sure it can hold my weight. The boards. What am I saying? The danger is in what the Most High is creating for us to determine, do we trust Him or not? And listen, we've gone over topics like this before. I'm not going to act like we never have. But these are reminders that are extremely important for us when we're facing new challenges. Or, to be specific, we're facing perceived new challenges. Because a lot of times we tell ourselves it's something new when it really isn't. It's just a higher level of what we've already gone through. When the Most High is teaching and developing us, He's working on our faith, our long-suffering, our patience, our mercy. Those concepts are the same things we face. They're just heightened. They're just a little greater. They're a little more difficult. They're a greater challenge, but they're the same things.
Challenge to your level of skill.
And your skill in your ability to cleave to these scriptures. Okay?
When we say cleave the scriptures, I mean that I have to make choices, and they can't be based off my instincts.
God.
We make choice off of instinct and not spiritual training.
Instinct or feelings.
Yeah.
God. So what we're going to do is continue. We're going to continue to at least verse 12. Let's keep going.
You want to ask him?
What's that? Yeah. Where is Acts? What verse?
14, 22.
It was 14. It was 14, 22. Yeah, that was it.
What was it? Acts 14. Acts chapter 14, verse 22.
You know, and I think these are reminders, because a lot of times we tell ourselves we're doing it, we're in the work, we're doing good works, or I have done good works, or I have done good things in Christ. But we can't forget this premise. Read that again.
Acts chapter 14, verse 22. Confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith.
Because it's not good enough that we've done faithful works. That's a positive. That's a start. But the Most High wants to know, can we continue in faith? How long can you sustain this godly pace? How long can you sustain this consciousness towards pleasing the Heavenly Father?
Meaning this.
Before you burn out. Before you start choosing yourself again.
How long can I live by faith? How long can I be selfless? How long can I practice interdependence?
And how long can I stay strong in this word?
Confident in this word, yeah.
How long can I stay strong in giving,
Yeah.
considering, fighting, being potent? Right? Read on.
Yeah.
Exhorting them to continue in the faith.
Because it's about what we do every day, and what a lot of times what classes are geared around is to exhort one another to continue. To exhort one another, to motivate one another to continue doing the right thing. And this is why a camp body or a church body is so important. Because we all get worn down. Our environment wears us down. The pressure wears us down. Scripturally, travail wears us down. That's a scriptural word for what wears us down and brings stress.
Yeah.
And starts to mount the pressure.
Trials upon trials upon trials upon trials.
Exactly. And finding ways to accept that constant strain that's on your head. Having people around you let you know you can do it.
Because a lot of us just barely made out of our last battle.
Yeah. A lot of us, yeah. Listen, exactly.
I
So
just barely made it out of
it's
the last
very important that we're able to sustain this level of fight, and the resources we use in Christ helps keep us potent and right. So exhorting one another. Read on.
Exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of the Most High.
I just don't think we understand that enough. I think a lot of times we're reminded that we're Israelites and you got to follow the law and we got to be on point. We can't sin, and all that's true. But he says we must through much tribulation enter the kingdom of the Most High. That's not just the apostles. That's not just the disciples. That's referring to us as well. The tribulation is what justifies our entrance into the kingdom. The pressure that we're able to handle, the pressure that we choose to handle continuously is what justifies our entrance into the kingdom. Yes, sir.
So the more you get more enlightened and more woke, the more pressure comes?
The more the Most High wants more from you. The shooter says,
Too much is given, much is required.
that's what I was going to say. Too much is given, much is required. So if he's given us the knowledge, he's given us a foundation of who we are, then he demands more of our presence. And then after we commit our presence, then he wants to commit more of our minds. Because what else can I give? Like that way I said, there's only 24 hours in a day. It ain't like we can sit back and extend days like Joshua did. It would make things a lot easier if we could. And we had the energy to sustain it.
Yeah.
But what can we give the Most High if we don't have more time? It's what do we do with our time? It's how is our mindset during the time that we have? How pure are our thoughts? How much do we fight to stay on point and not pull off from pleasing the Heavenly
And
Father?
can I say another way? It's really about your negative to spiritual ratio.
Huh?
Listen, we have a whole day, but you gotta be honest with yourself. Was my mind 80% negative and 20% spiritual today? Was I 40% spiritual and 60% negative?
Huh?
Was I 90% negative
Yep.
and 10% spiritual?
Yeah.
Am I honest with myself to know where I'm at? Because the Most High is gonna be honest with us.
Huh?
And can I extend my ratio of being spiritual to being carnal or negative or physical? Can I extend the ratio to where I'm more spiritual than I am carnal?
Because the tribulation, the pressure, is all the things around us, and all our surroundings and all the influences around us that are trying to push us to resort to carnal solutions.
Yeah, exactly.
To resort to carnal stress reliefs, carnal comforts.
The weak decision.
The weak decision.
'Cause what happens-
to be angry, to be emotional, to be reactionary,
To be victim.
to be to play the victim. These are all the situations that pressure puts you in the mindset to want to feed your anger, your wrath. And every time I do that, I show the Most High that I'm not ready. I'm not ready to grow. I'm really not ready as much as I say I am. Okay? But Paul is saying, listen, through much tribulation is how we enter the kingdom of the Heavenly Father. If you're not being strained, if you're not being stretched, if you're not being challenged, then what else can be put in front of you to determine whether you're worthy of the kingdom or not? If your life is comfortable with no stresses.
Or if it's just some brothers at times think because I have a beard and I have a
I know that. They think that's it, they won.
And sisters think sometimes I put a scarf on or a dress, that automatically I'm in the kingdom.
And I'm gonna say this, it's not even that simple. Sometimes because we've done it for a long time.
Yeah, that's what.
Sometimes because we've been in the truth for a period of time. You know what? Then why am I still being challenged? Why is the Spirit challenging me? Why is the Most High challenging me to give more? Because that's really why we get angry in the first place.
Yeah.
Really, that's the cause of our stress and our stressors. Why am I constantly being prodded and goaded to do more? Okay? Now,
Or why is my level of effort? It was
not enough.
It was acceptable 6 months ago,
Huh?
and now the same level of effort. I'm not getting blessed off this amount of hours of work,
Huh?
or this amount of time I've invested.
Huh?
I have to do something else. I have to give another sacrifice to get the Most High to respond to me.
Huh? And another sacrifice is you know what's crazy? He keeps putting us. I don't know if y'all notice this. He keeps putting us in arenas that aggravate us.
Yeah.
Why? Why does he keep putting us in arenas that aggravate us? It's because it aggravates you.
Yeah. That's why.
Listen, if it didn't aggravate you anymore, he wouldn't put you back in it. How about that? He put you in something else. That's the focus. What is he trying to teach you? Listen, there should be nothing that aggravates us. Why should doing the work of the Most High and serving the Most High aggravate us? It's because there's negative in us.
Yeah.
And this is how the Most High purges our negative. And this is the situation for much tribulation. And the tribulation that these men were facing, don't forget, in Acts 14, that was right after Paul was stoned at Iconium. Stoned to death. And Most High brought him back to life. And the next day, he was back at the same place where killers killed him dead. That's phenomenal. That's sacrifice and dedication that nobody here has had to face. But the premise is the same. In order to get to this broad place, what has to happen? Read verse 9 in 2 Ezra chapter 7.
2 Ezra chapter 7 verse 9. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass through the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance?
How are you going to receive the inheritance if you don't cross over the danger? If you're not willing to deal with the discomfort? Because it seems like a lot of us are just angry that we're still uncomfortable. We're angry that the Most High continuously makes us. What was that word that the Most High used explaining David's men? They were chafed in their mind. I think a lot of us are frustrated that the Most High keeps chafing us and making us uncomfortable, because we like to get into our routines, in our comfort, in our pace, and just roll on autopilot. Yes,
The definition of when you're in Acts 14, of the word confirming, it doesn't just mean evidence; it means additional evidence, meaning on top of what you've already.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up, because once again, we have to continue to stack reasons why fighting battles are important. What we don't understand is, for every challenge that we overcome, that's what builds faith. That's what builds the strength in pushing forward. And a person has one or two ways to look at the next challenge, the next battle. The first carnal way is, why is there so many damn battles? I got the memo about battles, but every day there's got to be another damn battle.
Or the classic.
I got another email saying I got a battle again today. It's constant emails of battles. Or this is another way to confirm the Most High is with me. It's another way for me to cleave to the Heavenly Father. Every time I'm pushed to the brink, this is an opportunity to continue to build my faith by pushing past my comforts and facing those dangers. Yes, sir.
Is that the same? Would that idea be the same idea as the Most High testing us and not tempting us?
He's testing us. He's giving us an opportunity. How about this? He's giving us an opportunity to get closer to Him. But it's really based on how we look at it. We can look at it. The rest of the class is going to create more clarity. So that question is going to be answered in class.
So you would say that that's a way for Him to bring you closer to Him.
Yes.
As opposed to it not being a way to separate the wheat from the chaff, to see who's
It's
gonna
both.
make it, who's
Well,
not.
it's both.
Right.
It's literally both. Because if you choose that this is BS and everything shouldn't be a battle, then you've just revealed that you're chaff. If you take counsel, Moses said, choose you this day life or death. Choose the mindset you want to uphold to establish and build your faith. Either I'm going to look at life like it's unfair, I'm the victim, I keep having people hating on me and trying to get in the way of my growth, or I'm going to look at it in a way where the Most High is teaching me something. What is He teaching me about my spirit?
You can use the example of the Most High asked Cain and Abel, Esau, yeah, it was Cain and Abel, he asked them for a sacrifice.
Yep.
They both had to give a sacrifice. He asked David and he asked Saul to be kings.
Yep.
And they both had to be kings.
Mm-hmm.
But why were there two different outcomes? But they're both in the same dynamic. Why are we both at the same location, but we're having two different outcomes?
Done. So, let's continue. Let's get 2 Ezra 7 and 10.
Come, 2 Ezra chapter 7 verse 10.
So verse 9 explained that we had to go through the danger to receive the inheritance. Now we know Israel was given the inheritance, right? Now read verse 10.
And I said,
Don't forget, this is the angel communicating to Ezra about the condition of Israel. Alright, read on.
and I said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me,
The angel told Ezra what?
even so also is Israel's portion.
This is Israel's portion or lot in life. This is why the nations can just fly by and experience what they experience, and they don't have to deal with this type of work, this type of pressure, this type of responsibility. But the fact that there's dangers everywhere, and you have to go through the dangers to get to the blessing on the other end, he said this is Israel's portion of life, not everybody else. He's going to make us earn everything we get. Okay, read on.
Verse 11. Because for their sake I made the world.
So it's a reminder. I'm not going to go here, but if you do read the end of 2 Ezra 6, it's talked about clearly that the world was made for Israel. And it also explains that because Israel sinned, that the kingdom was translated to the nations. And they were given power because Israel was rebellious and wasn't serving the Heavenly Father. Right? Read on.
Because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done.
So he says when Adam broke the law, that's when life got more difficult. When Adam sinned, then that easy path that was set up for us was taken. Because now we had to fight and earn everything that he was going to give us. Once again, this path, this chapter is explaining Israel's spiritual path that they have to go through. If I'm going to take a carnal path, it's not the same path as Israel, who's trying here to serve the Most High. But he said since Adam sinned, everything became harder. Read on.
It says, then were the entrances of the world made narrow.
He says once Adam died, now the entrances became narrow. Whereas before, the entrances were wide. When it was a time of Adam, it was easy to sit back here and get the Most High's attention and get blessed. But when Adam fell, then the rest of the nation had to fall. Read on.
Full of sorrow and travail.
It goes back into the fact that what was the curse that the Most High gave Adam? He had to work by the sweat of his brow for everything he got.
The land was not growing by just the Most High's providence.
Exactly.
Adam had to invest himself, which wore away the years of his life.
It was that. So now he had to physically commit.
Yep.
On top of now, he had to keep spiritually committing himself to get blessed.
Yeah.
To get the Most High's attention. Everything he did, he had to earn. Nothing came easy anymore. A lot of times, we try to get the Most High's attention, and it's not enough, and we get angry that what we do is not enough. But that's just simply the Most High teaching us, training us on how to give more to Him, so we can keep getting His attention. Well, let's keep going.
But it says, there are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful.
He said, then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. We're going to explain the type of travail he's talking about by going to Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 40, verse 1 through 10. We'll be going back there though, Amiyaki, just so you know.
Come.
Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 40 and verse 1. What the Most High understood from the time of Adam is, if you give Israel something too easy, they won't appreciate it, and they'll spit in your face. Okay? So Ecclesiasticus chapter 40, verse 1 through 10.
Yeah.
Hey, you mind if I get it? I'll just check and I'll give it back to you.
You what, sir?
I get a pocket for it and I'll give it back to you when I'm done.
You got a Bible?
I didn't bring that out of the pocket. Thanks.
Okay, so Ecclesiasticus chapter 40, verse 1 through 10.
Ecclesiastes chapter 40 and verse 1. Great travail is created for every man.
Great travail, which is great danger, great pressure, great work, is created for every man. A lot of times we ask ourselves, why me? But what we don't want to accept is the Most High has a handcrafted battle set up just for every individual person here in this building. Great travail was created for every man. Great travail was created for every man to overcome, to continue to cross this narrow path to get to the greater path. Right? Read on.
And a heavy yoke is upon the sons of Adam.
A heavy yoke is upon the sons of Adam. But a lot of times, when we look at work, when we look at pressure, when we look at responsibility, we look at it in a temporary mind frame.
Yeah.
Versus expecting and understanding that the pressure is always going to be there, but in different arenas.
In waves.
Different waves and in different arenas is how the pressure comes.
It
The
shifts.
pressure doesn't stop. And I think we fool ourselves by telling ourselves, well, I got through this wave. I don't have to go through that anymore. That battle is over. And then you tell yourself that, and guess what happens? A year later, 6 months later, that pressure is right back on you. Why do you think the pressure is right back on you? Why? We mentioned it earlier. That pressure is back on you because you didn't get the full lesson the first 3 times.
Yeah, that's true.
If you got the understanding, you wouldn't be reacting this way now.
Yeah.
There is still a spiritual lesson to what you're going through, even though you went through it 3 and 4 and 5 times. This is why the Most High tells us in Judges that we're supposed to rehearse the righteous acts. Why does a person practice anything? To get better at it and to iron out the mistakes, to fix those mistakes until there's no more mistakes. So every time the Most High keeps bringing waves of travail, these waves of travail are indicators to let you know that you're still lacking in these different arenas, and for you to take notice of it and stop running from the battle that's right there in front of you. Yes, I mean,
There's more attention to detail.
because this is how the Most High demands growth. Can I attend more attention to detail? Can I sit back and work on the specifics? Can I ask myself why or how I need to improve in this same arena? Because I don't know about you, but most of the time we're facing the same issues over and over again.
No, it don't be.
The issues
just
don't really
brand new.
change. It's no different than why the hell we're going over the same 2nd Esdras chapter 7 again. You know why? Because we need it again. I asked myself, I had a couple classes on deck today. I said, I could go this direction. I was going to go into the class the sister wanted me to go into. I was going to do it. But then I thought about saying, we need this. But then I'm like, damn, we went over this. It was like around a year and a half ago. But the point still is sometimes you got to go over the same things to remind people about how to function.
That's where we're at.
Because we can keep going forward and forward and forward, but if we're forgetting why we're going through the battles that we're going, then we gotta backtrack and remind people that, hey, we're going over the same things, rehearsing the righteous acts because we didn't figure it out before. And he's telling you, travail is created for every person. So if I have a patient situation, you know what? I'm going to constantly have to learn how to wait. If I'm the type of person that feels that I'm always being taken advantage of, then guess what? You're going to be in handcrafted situations that make you feel you're getting taken advantage of. If I have a negative outlook problem, then I'm going to constantly be put in situations where I have to choose not to hold on to the type of thinking that makes me look at things negative.
Yeah.
And I have to choose to see the positive in things if I'm going to pass this challenge. I might have an issue with wrath. If my issue is wrath, I'm going to be put in scenarios that are going to constantly anger me. And I have to choose not to feed that mentality. This is how he trains us. But the problem is we keep running from the training. We keep getting in shock and awe about the training versus accepting, hey, you're back in this situation again because you didn't get it right before. And can you accept that? And you're going to keep doing the same, you're going to, that same issue in you is going to get recycled time after time. It might be in a different, it might come through a different set of people, a different year, a different location, but the issue is going to constantly,
the theme doesn't change.
The theme doesn't change until you overcome that theme or that issue in you. So, great travail is created for every man, read on, and a heavy yoke.
And a heavy yoke is upon the sons of Adam.
Listen, that heavy yoke could be patience, anger, outlook, whatever is bugging you. A yoke is just something that's on your head, that's always that annoyance to you. He says heavy yoke is on every man. But what are you supposed to do with that yoke? How are you supposed to deal with it? That's that danger that's being talked about in 2 Ezra 7. Read on.
Is upon the sons of Adam from the day that they go out of their mother's womb to the day that they return to the mother of all things.
This travail and those demons from your youth, they're not leaving. We're going to have to learn to overcome them with the scriptures if we're going to endure to the end. Read on.
Their imagination of things to come.
Half of the issues that we have is psychosomatically. We talked about a few weeks ago about distress and stress. Our imaginations kill us. How we anticipate things. How we stress about things that we can't control.
Our interpretation of pressure,
yep,
our interpretation of challenge,
yep,
is what gets us.
It is what brings us. It I don't want to say stifle, but it paralyzes us.
Yep.
It makes us bitter. It makes us snappy. It makes us emotional. It makes us quitters. It makes us lazy.
It keeps us short-sighted.
Because we can't get past our thoughts, our perceived limitations. These perceived limitations is what breaks us. Read on.
It's like their imagination of things to come and the day of death trouble their thoughts.
Their imagination of things to come, things you can't explain, things you can't predict,
things you can't
control. You can't control. And the day of death is just doomsday, your own personal doomsday. Your own worst nightmare coming.
How about this? The idea that you're going to struggle and stress until you die. That puts people in a very despairing, sad mindset.
Yeah.
That every day is going to be a damn battle until I go in the damn dirt. And why am I living then? I should be drinking pina coladas at the beach somewhere, man. Enjoying my life.
On a Corona commercial.
On a Corona commercial. Where he says, Snoop Deal Double T. Okay, when he threw the damn phone in the damn in the beer bucket. He says I needed a new phone anyway, man. Anyway, the point is this. That comes from a mindset that is running from what they were chosen to do. Half of the issue is about our imagination. Can we just accept that the Most High is constantly putting us in arenas to teach us about ourselves? And can I stop looking at what I'm going through as travail? That's the battle. Can I stop looking at what I'm going through as travail? What kills us is our imagination. Yes, we're tired. Yes, we're stretched out. Yes, things are not easy. But there's no need for despair behind that. A lot of us, there's despair that comes behind our circumstances versus finding peace in those circumstances.
And our despair is based on our underdevelopment.
Yep.
It's based on our deficit of virtue.
God.
It's based on the skills we lack.
God.
But those skills that we lack are based on the battles we haven't overcome.
God.
So you're going to be in the same position with the same themes until you build a surplus of what you've been lacking. You're going to be in doubt scenarios until you learn faith. You're going to be in hate scenarios until you learn love. You're going to be in fear scenarios until you learn courage. This is the dynamic you're in. Now, can you use the Bible as your lens to solve the battle, or are you going to still deal with everything through your physical, emotional,
Lens.
reactionary mindset?
God. Let's go through this. I don't want to make the whole class about travail. There's good. There's hope on the back end, yo. I don't want to make it about just do back glow forever. No, we're gonna. There's some positive things I want to pull out of this too. I'm just trying to paint a picture about. I think a lot of times we forget that we're supposed to go through these travails. This is what the Most High allocated for us because of Adam's sin.
And also because you're his child.
Well,
You belong to
exactly.
him.
Whom the Lord loveth, he what?
Chastens.
He chastens. He's going to put us through stress and pressure to make the best of us. And this is the thing. It's just the Most High knows exactly what buttons to push to bring about that anxiety, that discomfort, that stress. He knows exactly what travails the individual. Okay? Well, let's keep going.
God. Ecclesiastes 40 and verse 2 again. Their imagination of things to come and the day of death trouble their thoughts and cause fear of heart.
Mm-hmm.
From him that sitteth on a throne of glory unto him that is humbled in earth and ashes.
Doesn't matter if you're a man of power or a young man, everybody feels a healthy dose of stress, pressure, and anxiety. Read on.
From him that weareth purple and a crown unto him that is clothed with a linen frock.
Doesn't matter who you are, the Most High has a special travail for you. Read on.
Wrath and envy, trouble and unquietness.
That unquietness. When you're sitting back here and whatever you're going through, it makes you unquiet, makes you unhappy, it makes you unnerved, makes you aggravated. It doesn't bring peace. And the Most High is trying to teach you how to handle scenarios that don't bring you peace the spiritual way. Read on.
Fear of death and anger and strife.
Right there, anger is a major one. Because anger is something that people don't want to let go of.
Yeah.
Anger is a motivant for people. Anger is an excuse for people. Anger is a reason to do or what not to do. Anger is the reason why we choose our weak decisions. Why I did it because I was angry. We like to hold on to anger as our really almost like it's a covering force.
Yep. God.
Oh, I'm slucky. I was angry.
And because I was angry, I was out of order. God.
So Most High is judging us by, are you using the spirit of anger to maintain a weak position when it comes to making choices?
And it also was telling us that the travail is there on purpose to see where your spiritual character is. And that travail is always going to be ever present because of Adam's sin. A lot of times we'll tell ourselves, okay, this is the last battle act.
Oh, I love
once
that.
Once I overcome this, I don't got to deal with this battle no
That's
more.
especially me.
I'm telling you, people say that, so you will be surprised. I mean, as I've heard, we've told ourselves we overcame that battle. No, how do you know you overcame it?
The last battle was so comforting. That's why I tell brothers, we're almost done. Because you're that feeling, it just feels good. We're almost done. I think you got 4 more hours of work to do that. We're almost done.
We're almost, that's the first move. We're almost, there's 2 more moves.
We're almost done.
What are you talking about?
We're almost done.
Yeah, that's that Christ part. I'm talking about how my yoke is lighter.
It is like. But you know what?
It's not a lie.
It's what you tell yourself.
It's how you see it. It's how you see it. Because you know the truth is, it's light. Because if all I care about is pleasing to Christ,
then it's light.
If all I care about is pleasing Christ, then it is light.
Yeah.
But if you want to do other things, then it's not so much light. It's not so light.
I had some dreams.
If you had plans, then it's not so light anymore.
It's kind of shitty.
Yeah, exactly. and that, but it's how you look at it, and that's why I talked about the imagination of things to come is what brings about the most travail. It's how you look at things, how you perceive things, how you see what's going on in your life. I can look at what I'm going through as an opportunity to grow, or I can look at what I'm going through and say it's travail. Now, the angel told Ezra it was damn danger. But once again, I was still supposed to look at danger as an opportunity to get blessed. But this was something that was forever. And that was what I was trying to bring out. So, let's keep going.
And can I say this too? And the Bible says that we're in the time of darkness.
God.
Let's not forget, we're in a present evil world.
Mm-hmm.
So this is spiritual survival skills necessary to survive and function in a present evil world.
God.
You need this mindset to get through this.
And this happened because of Adam.
Yeah.
I gotta say it because I tell you, for those who've been in for a long time, we think that eventually things are kind of lighten up. And it's not the case. The stress is the stress is the stress is the stress. And the funny thing is, the longer you've been in, the stakes are higher.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna be going through a younger man's battle anymore.
I gotta admit.
Come on, listen, you already passed that. So the ante has just
part.
been up just off the fact that you've been here long enough. How about that? But this is something that we have to accept if we want to stay strong. But let's keep going.
Come. Ecclesiastes 40 and verse 5. Wrath and envy, trouble and unquietness, fear of death, and anger.
Because of one thing too. And
We're gonna still in this anger. Huh?
I gotta go. No. Envy too. Because if it's not anger, it's always envy.
Yep.
Because
it is envy. Envy's heavy.
Why is everybody's life easier
than mine?
Perceived.
Everybody
has that complaint.
That is envy.
Every marriage.
You gotta say that again. You gotta say that again.
Why is everybody's life, aka marriage, aka financial situation, aka ranking position advantages, aka work situation, aka workload, aka their hopes and dreams and their ability to touch what they want, but I can't have what I want.
Yep.
That is the spirit of envy, and we have to live with that. And guess what? That's what's talking in your mind as you're dealing with the pressure.
Because that's an
killing your
excuse
concentration.
not to fight your battle in front of you.
This is stupid. Look, he's doing all right. I'm
Exactly.
through this.
Well,
I do more than
these people have all this time for themselves, and most I got me going through all this extra.
Yeah.
Half the time it's because you know what? Well, much is given, much is required. How about that?
Yeah.
This person or this person. Listen, I've heard this for multiple generations in offices. That younger brother's getting away with murder.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't allowed to get away with that when I was a young man. Well, how about what you got away with? The man over you didn't get a chance to get away with. There's always been another level of patience provided for the next person.
True.
The person that dealt with you let you get away with things that another person couldn't get away with.
That's true.
That's not how we're looking at things. If we were looking at things spiritual, we will remove that spirit of envy from us. Because the way to break that spirit of envy is to remind yourself the first part of Ecclesiastes 40. Great travail is created for every man. There's no this ain't fair, but this is fair. Everybody is in a situation that's challenging for them.
True.
And if you can keep that mindset, then you could stay tethered and you can kind of pull off that spirit of envy off of you. Okay? I'm gonna try, man. I'm gonna try to read it, man.
Wisdom in that one.
Yeah, I know it was.
Challenge,
and you know, I'm gonna put the verse in there too, so I can kind of see it while I'm on the fly. But okay, we'll see. Someone's had time for you too. Keep going in Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes chapter 40 and verse 5, in the middle. And anger and strife, and in the time of rest upon his bed, his night's sleep, do change his knowledge.
When do those spirits jump on you the most? When you're laying down, you're tired, you're looking at four walls.
Just ate.
Do you think about tomorrow's waiting for you? Saturday's coming out. Listen. whatever's in the back of your head, that next day is looming on your head, and all kind of negative thoughts is bouncing in your head. And he says, when you lay down your head at night, that's when he says that starts to change your knowledge. That changes your perception and how you look at things.
Can I say why? Because it's like, okay, yeah, I gotta be spiritual. Yeah, I gotta have faith. You sit in that bed like, oh shit. Change all your knowledge.
You ain't fighting no more. All those Bible verses ain't popping in your head no more, right? Brothers ain't around you. They ain't the con.
Come, yeah. Go sleep. I don't know about this. And you get tired, you can wake up. I'll start from scratch.
Exactly. It's all truth, that. But this is the travail that we all face moving forward. And it's a travail that is never going to leave. Read on. Which means we always have to be in a fighting posture to sustain our spirit. That's the only reason I'm going here. Not to harp on the travail, but to understand that this is the travail that we're facing as we're pushing forward, as we're working forward, as we're working to get to the kingdom. Okay? Let's keep going.
Ecclesiastes 40 verse 6. A little or nothing is his sleep, and afterward he is in his sleep.
A little is his rest.
Rest, right?
Yeah, read it from the top, verse 6 again.
Oh, it's like a little or nothing is his rest, and afterward he is in his sleep. As in a day of keeping watch, troubled in the vision of his heart.
How do you know this is true? When you have a real negative in your head, can you get real good sleep?
Hell no.
Can you get peaceful sleep? You're tossing, you're turning, you got emotions inside, and you're angry, you're pissed, and you go through all these emotional ups and downs, and you get nothing out of it spiritually. You wake up beaten, broken down, mentally exhausted because of all the wrestling you've had in your head. Okay, read on.
God, trouble in the
It's almost like fighting your thoughts is more exhausting than actually lifting the damn boxes all damn day long. Fighting the negative in you, fighting the anger and trying to control and stifle all these emotions going through you is more challenging than going through a day's work. But let's keep going.
Yeah. Trouble in the vision of his heart, as if he were escaped out of a battle.
Exactly. Because when you're in your head, it's like you're in a damn physical battle. You've gone to war. But the reason you've gone to war is because you haven't stayed in the book. You haven't stayed strong in the book. Leave it there. It's all good. So, continue. It's just explaining how exhausting fighting your flesh is. Or to be specific, how exhausting feeding the flesh is. Because this happens when you've allowed too much negative to fester in your spirit. This is when this starts happening, and those negative thoughts have overrun you. Now they've completely overrun your thoughts, and it's exhausting rooting them out. Versus having enough scriptures to kind of stabilize your thoughts on a daily basis. But let's keep going.
Verse 7. When all is safe, he awakeneth and marveleth that the fear was nothing.
Because when that demon is off of you, when you get counsel, when you get scriptures, all of a sudden you realize that was just nothing. It was just I was in my head.
Yeah.
I was just in my head. But when you was in your head, guess what happened? The sky was falling. You're like damn Chicken George running around here, right?
For real.
I'm telling you, you're acting like the sky is literally falling. But that's what happens when you're not on top of yourself scripturally. But he's still showing you the dynamic with that travail that goes with it. Exactly. The sky is falling, everything's collapsing. But it's just showing you that dynamic when we're not on top of ourselves. Read on.
Verse 8. Such things happen unto all flesh, both man and beast.
And what they say is, the scientists say that when you visualize something, that you get the same chemical reaction and same hormones as if it was really happening.
It's crazy.
If you're dreaming, you get the same chemicals in your body as if you were living it. If you're singing your mind, you get the same chemical reaction. So you have the same. So if you're imagining problems and people coming,
and that's why that negative outlook is so dangerous.
Yeah.
What you entertain in your mind, the feelings and emotions you entertain is scary. But this is part of those dangers that we face in the process of us crossing over that narrow bridge. And listen, the thoughts hit you the most when you're alone. But it tells you in 2 Ezra 7 that when you walk that path, you are alone. Only one person can walk at a time. So you better have these scriptures. You better have foundation. You better have experiences. You better be confirming every battle you overcome. There better be confirmations, because this is what you need to keep yourself stable and out of that imagination that cripples you. Yes, sir.
When you say confirmation over the things that you overcome, what do you mean by that?
Everything you overcome, every battle you overcome, every difficulty you face, and you use the combination of counsel, studying scriptures, and you overcome it, that's a confirmation that cleaving to the Most High works versus doing it your way. And our life is a succession of cleaving to the Most High during times of travail. Now, the Most High provided us travail in our life as a curse because of Adam. But it's also an indicator as to how much we're willing to cleave to Him and not choose ourselves. So it works on our favor, even though there's travail in our life. That travail is what actually keeps us connected to the Heavenly Father. Okay? It's actually needed. But the angel is just explaining to Ezra the process. Okay? So let's let that go and go back. I don't want any more of that. That's cool. Let's go. No. I do. I need to verse 8 at least.
All right, we're on verse 6 now.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes chapter 14, verse 6.
No, I think it's verse 7 we're on now.
Finish 7.
No, we're finished 7. We did finish 7. Yes.
Okay. Verse 8. Such things happen unto all flesh, both man and beast, and that is sevenfold more upon sinners.
And that's what's even crazy. When
That's
you're
a real
sinning,
one.
it's even worse. This is why you see all these cats that are selling dope and doing dirt and killing people and committing crimes. They're always what? They're paranoid out of this world. They're paranoid. They're looking everywhere. They can't get comfortable. They're acting like the Equalizer, right? Their backs against the wall of the restaurants. Their heads are. They can see the whole layout of the restaurant. Yeah. They have their exit routes. He got his tea right here. He's right here looking for criminals and crime and like this guy got a construction suit on, but his hands aren't dirty. And this guy's trying to kill me.
Wash your hands dirty.
I'm being stupid, but you get my point. There's this paranoia when you're sinning. And when you've done people wrong, you always thinking this time I'm gonna get caught slipping. Yeah. So this is why he's saying it's sevenfold more for sinners.
Well, this car accident can happen.
Exactly.
That's the scary part.
Or anything can happen now. The Most High's getting me. He can get me anytime. So that's that spirit of travail is amplified when you're doing negative. But even when you're doing right, this battle is evidently in your life, in our life. Yeah. So we're going to hold this or let this go. Go back to 2 Ezra, chapter 7. Now we're going to do verse 2 Ezra 7 and verse 13. Yes, sir.
2 Ezra chapter 7 and verse 13. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and short.
The entrances of the elder world. That was the world that was Adam's world. The entrance, the way to get to the kingdom during Adam's time was wide and short. It was easy. Read on.
It says, and brought immortal fruit. Mm-hmm. If then they that live labored not to enter these straight and vain things.
Now he says, if then they that live now, labor not to enter these straight and vain things. Let's look up straight real quick. Strait in the 1828. I wasn't going to let that one slide. Because this is really another explanation of why our life is the way it is. Straight. I want definition 3 and 4.
Straight. In the 1828 Webster Dictionary. Strict. Rigorous.
He says this life now, the life that was with Adam was wide and short. The life now with Israel is strict and rigorous. And give me definition 4.
Difficult. Distressful.
Distressful just means stressful. A life full of pressure. A life full of hardness. He's like, the life the Most High has us set up now is made to be hard. Made to be stressful. Made to be difficult. Made to be rigorous. There's no getting around it. Mentally, physically, spiritually rigorous. This is why we're always in the book trying to fortify one another to prepare ourselves for the rigor that we face every day serving the Most High. Because there's just no getting around it. So it said the former life was wide and sure. This life now, he says, if then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things. The vainness is talking about the unsatisfying side of the life we live now. Because living the life we live now is not carnally satisfying. It's not satisfying to the flesh. That's where it means by the vanity of it. What are we getting out of it in the carnal? We're not getting anything out of it carnally. This is about living a life spiritually. So now we have to live a rigorous, difficult life that doesn't feed the flesh.
Which is strict.
And can we exactly? Ain't no fun.
The word strict means, it says, not mild or indulgent.
Huh? That's why you can look at it as an unsatisfying life.
Unto
because
what?
The life is to the flesh is not unsatisfying to the flesh.
The spirit is satisfying.
That's the point.
But it's not satisfying to that part that wants stimulation, the part that wants.
But think about it.
Yeah.
Think about this in a way that a parent will look at a child. If I give my child freedom and my child abuses the freedom, now what do I have to do now to make things right? I have to make life tight. Now you can't have those freedoms because you've shown that you act like a plumb fool when you got freedom. So now I got to sit back and tighten up and extract the freedom and keep things rigid so that you can stay on point. And this is how the Most High has operated with us since the fall of Adam. Once again, this chapter is always the answer why. This is the answer to why. Why am I in travail? Why am I going through these difficulties? Why is my life the way it is? This is the reminder. Okay, yes, sis? I saw the finger go like that. It was like, I was like, you didn't bring it up. He was like this. I was like, is that a question or a comment? It was almost like you were trying to do it. They're like, no, I'm gonna bring it back down. Okay, it's all good. So we get that, right? That was verse 14.
Yeah, we're gonna finish it.
Let's keep going.
Read it from the top. 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 14. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, then can never receive those that are laid up for them.
And that's the thing. We can never receive this kingdom if we're not willing to deal with the difficult, the straight.
If I can't accept the confinement.
If
the word strict means to confine.
If I can't deal with the difficult. If I can't accept the difficult, I'm not going to get the blessing. If I can't accept the stressful, then I'm not going to gain the pleasure.
The word strict also means strained. If I can't be in a condition where I am strained. That's what the Bible says, strained. Webster says strained. It's strict. So can I deal with a condition of being strained?
Can I accept my life being strained so that my afterlife cannot be strained, can be at peace? This is the trade-off. But I think we all trip up because we look at these little breathers that we get, and we think those breathers are temporary. Don't forget, the Most High says He tries us like gold is tried in the furnace, right? When you try that iron or that sword in the or that gold in the furnace, you put it in the fire for a period of time, then you take it off to cool it. Yep. Then you put it back into the fire at a higher rate. But we think once we get pulled out of the fire for that temporary time, that's how it's going to be forever. And we forget, hey, I got to get put back into this fire at a higher level than it was before, to pull off a higher grade of impurity. This is the purging process. This is how the Most High brings out the best in all of us. It's a constant process of purging. There's always remnants of negative that have to get pulled out. But if we're sitting back here and we get angry at our husbands for scrutinizing us, angry at brothers for scrutinizing us, who else is supposed to sit back here and point out the impurities that have to get purged out?
Or show us the chinks in our spiritual armor.
And if another person is going to say the Most High is going to put you in scenarios that He's going to force you to change, one way or the other, these impurities are going to rise to the top.
Because it sounds stupid. What sounds stupid is you're always criticizing me, and the Most High is always criticizing me.
Yeah.
So who are you mad at?
Well, I'm going to say this. For those who are starting to figure it out, it's better to get checked from a human being than to fall face first from the Most High. And that's the truth. Because the Most High is going to speak once or twice out. Then He's going to sit back here. He's going to bust you up.
Yeah. You don't want to be on the wrong side of the arm.
That's what I'm saying. Now that's when car accidents happen and a lot of bad things like that happen. What's that? What? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so let's continue. Where are we at? 14?
No, we're on 15 now.
Okay, perfect.
2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 15. Now therefore, why disquietest thou thyself, seeing thou art but a corruptible man?
He says, why are we stressing out? Because to disquiet means you're stressing. Why are we stressing out about this scenario? Why are we stressing out about the realities of our life? The realities of this path that the Most High has chosen us to follow. Read on.
And why art thou moved?
And this is why, I'm telling you, this is why the church is not going to get off the hook when Christ comes back. Because all that prosperity teaching doesn't develop the spirit. All that prosperity teaching and telling everybody that the Most High's got a blessing waiting for you and all you got to do is smile and pay this tithes and it's going to work out. They're not developing people to learn how to serve the Most High in Christ. There is a template that the scripture teaches you to even begin to learn how to get closer to Him and embrace that relationship. But anyway, let's keep going.
And why art thou moved, whereas thou art but mortal? Why hast thou not considered in thy mind this thing that is to come?
Why haven't we accepted in our mind or considered it that these things have to happen the way they happen? Too many times we get stressed and overwhelmed about quote unquote new things that are happening in our life, but we don't realize it was always supposed to be this way. But we lose track of the fact that we're still not accepting that every day the Most High is trying to develop us more. And we look at the Most High as developing us like it's a punishment, like it's a death sentence, like He's taking things from me, like He's making me suffer, and I'm losing this and I'm losing that. And that's where He's like, why are you even looking at things like this? Why are you looking at the Most High like He's unfair? Haven't you realized this pattern already? And this is where we kind of have to get reminded that this pattern is forever. These classes aren't new to us. They're just not. Yes, Tawam?
Is it a good thing to have that mentality that loss is a game? If I'm losing, I'm gaining.
Well, sometimes if you're losing, you're losing.
That's if you're doing right.
I was getting into that too. I mean,
the flesh.
Don't you got to have a balance between reality and
well, this is why we need counselors. This is why we need counselors. Sometimes this is why we need, because sometimes you'll tell yourself you're winning, but you're losing, and you're wasting time while you're losing. And sometimes you're losing, but you're spiritually gaining. Right. But it's important sometimes that somebody is there. Scripture says iron sharpens iron. It's important to have people who can help see where you're at. Because sometimes when we judge ourselves, we kind of grade below the curve. Right? We're grading below the curve. I give myself a B+, man. I showed up, you know what I'm saying? I was trying. I smiled today. I gave. I could have did worse, you know. And we don't.
Where I come from.
Listen, where I come from, the mean streets of this city. But the reality is this: having that other brother or person to kind of see where you're at and give you a proper diagnosis of your situation helps. And it helping you kind of see where you need to work on your situation. Because I'm not going to lie, sometimes we lose and we waste time. Then we look up here like,
it's not
and
the
we look
most
at 10
efficient
years.
process for all the pressure we have to deal with. Because it's the problem. You're under pressure whether you like it or not. And I'm not going to lie to you. Battles stack. Unaddressed issues stack. Like when you were in school and you had missing assignments. For adults, when you got bills you didn't pay, forget that bill. I don't give a damn about that bill. Well, next month's coming up. That bill's still there. And bills stack.
It doesn't matter if you don't open that bill. Guess what? If you don't open that bill and that seal on the bill is there, guess what? The bill is going to still be there and you still owe it next month. It's going to double.
Still like, what's good? I'm still going to.
Just because you didn't open it and see it doesn't mean that the
it's
bill. It's
not there. I don't see it.
You ain't got to do that. Either you're going to open it or you're not going to open it. Right. But the point is, that's why it's so sad.
So when we're not operating at the proper rate of efficiency under the amount of pressure we're under, then you just inherit more pressure.
Yes.
And that's when.
What is he saying? What is he saying? Most High gives all of us a dispensation of the gospel.
Yeah.
Right. What that means is we all have a certain amount of time to work on our patience, our humility, our long suffering, our pure outlook, our loving kindness, whatever it is, and our discipline. If we don't continue to add on to these aspects of our spirit, if we don't build the fruits of the spirit, we're going to continuously be around more people that require more of ourselves. We were supposed to keep passing these tests so that the next generation, the next set of people in our life will be prepared for that battle. And then based upon us working on what's inside of us, we can be prepared for the next challenge. But a lot of us run from our battle, and now we come back and we have that much more to catch up with, and we still have the basic responsibilities that are still on our face. And that's when we get overwhelmed and we get stressed, and that I Love Lucy conveyor belt out with the cupcakes out.
Yeah, right. It's cupcake now.
Classic episode.
It was chocolate.
It was chocolate. It wasn't cupcakes. It was chocolate. But you get the point. You start eating them to kind of compensate. Exactly.
Bonbons.
Yeah, bonbons. Exactly. So we get the point, though. That's not my thing, man. But it is what it is. Point is that kind of content, if you don't stay on top of things, it becomes a mudslide and you can't catch up.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the despair feels realer and realer. The doubt gets realer and realer. The desire for escape gets realer and realer.
Yep.
So we're doing the right thing by getting class. Now after class, am I going to sit here and try to find how can I put the information to use?
But we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna go into another side. I want to go into another side of this, but the key, first of all, the reason we're going here is to accept that feeling, accept that pressure, accept that the Most High's got these things that you have to face. Stop running from it. Accept this is your challenge. This is the travail the Most High's got you going through.
Not your cousin.
So now,
not your mom,
and let's not be envious that somebody else's travail is different than yours. Your battle is handcrafted, accept it, and let's work on fixing it. Okay? Let's continue in Esdras.
2nd Esdras chapter 7 verse 16. Why hast thou not considered in thy mind the thing that is to come, rather than that which is present? Then answered I and said, O Lord, that which bears rule, thou hast ordained in thy law.
So it says, thou which bears rule, meaning who's in control of this whole situation? It's the Most High. He's the one that's controlling the whole situation. Go ahead. Can you pull it back? The top.
Then answered I and said, O Lord, that bears rule, thou hast ordained in thy law that the righteous should inherit these things, but that the ungodly should perish.
Okay, I'm sorry. Read that again. I got some thinking call I had to answer. Or text back. What verse is that?
Two lines back, two scriptures back.
In 17?
17.
Yeah, read it again. I'm sorry.
Then answered I and said, O Lord, that bears rule. Thou hast ordained in thy law that the righteous should inherit these things, but that the ungodly should perish.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things.
Listen, the righteous are going to still suffer these difficult challenges, no matter how righteous you are. Because sometimes we think, oh, I'm righteous, why do I keep suffering? I'm doing good works, why do I keep suffering and having to go through changes? Because the Most High wants what? Usury.
True.
Christ wants usury.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got it. The righteous have to keep giving. The righteous got to keep changing.
Producing.
You got to keep producing. You can't have one hit album, that's it, I. It's gonna be having one fire ass album works, I. And they want to stop, I. You got to keep producing hot records, I.
True.
You got to get back in the lab and make some more good music, I.
Yeah.
Forever. We have a permanent record deal, I.
For the Most High.
For the Most High. But you get the point, right? So he said the righteous have to suffer these straight things. Read on. And he says hope for why?
For what?
Our hope. Most I said we're prisoners of what? Hope. We're prisoners of hope. We're supposed to suffer these straight things and hope for why? Read on.
For they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the why.
Hold on a second. Call him. Call him.
Dre.
Yeah, call Dre. Do you have his number? Give it to him.
Yeah.
Who got it?
Somebody call?
Oh, that's your Hanada?
God.
But listen, let him
Call
do it
him.
because he's got his number.
All right.
It's some damn nonsense.
Situation. Uncut gems.
It's really uncut gems. That if you've seen the movie, you understand. Pure chaos. That's what uncut gems means. But read that out.
Verse 18. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for why. They that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the why.
So think about this. He says the wicked people, they're going to still suffer straight things, but they're not going to get anything why.
Out of it.
So that's the blessing that we have. We're going to suffer straight things, and based off how well we handle those straight things, we'll earn the kingdom. The wicked are going to still suffer for their wickedness, and there's no reward on the end. That's what we should at least be at peace with. Let's be at peace with that. We have a shot to get to the kingdom, and it's just based upon how well we accept our condition. So let's keep reading.
Verse 19. And he said unto me,
No. Is that 19? No, I don't want 19. I want to go to 2 Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians. Chapter 1 and 5. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. One and 5.
Come. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 5. Read.
Matter of fact, give me verse 4.
Verse 4. You ready?
Almost. Read that.
So that we ourselves glory in you in the churches of the Most High, for your patience and faith in all your persecutions and tribulations that ye endure.
So listen, I can't stress this enough. Our glory in Christ is based off what we endure and suffer for doing the right thing, for living righteous, for making the right decisions, for doing honorable and still suffering for it. That's our glory. That's where we hang our hat on. A lot of times we tell ourselves we're the victim, or we play with that spirit of envy and we say, damn, I'm suffering and I'm doing the right thing, and these people can get away with murder. Right? We say that all the time. That's envy, and we also don't recognize that what we suffer while doing the right thing is our glory to the Most High. That's what makes us glorious in his eyes. What else can I give him? What else can we give him minus suffering wrongfully?
What do we have to offer?
We have nothing else to offer to show the Most High that we love him.
What do we bring to the table?
That's what we bring to the table. What we suffer for him. Read on.
Verse 5. Which is a manifest token of the righteous judgment of the Most High, that ye may be counted worthy of the kingdom of the Most High.
You're counted worthy of the kingdom based off that token. That token is what? It's all the tribulations that ye endure. That's that token of glory that justifies your opportunity to get to the kingdom. Read verse 5 again from the top.
Which is a manifest token of the righteous judgment of the Most High, that ye may be counted worthy of the kingdom of the Most High, for which ye also suffer.
You're going to suffer to get to the kingdom. The glory is that you suffer and you're honorable and you stay on point while you're suffering. That's what makes it glorious. That's the token that separates you and us from everybody else. What you have lost for him, what you've given up for him, that's what separates you from everyone. And this is why Paul kept talking about all the things he gloried in was his works, his dedication, his losses. That was worth glorying in. Nothing else. So all of the dangers that we're facing, all the tribulation and travail that we're facing, that is our glory. That's what makes us potent. That's what guarantees our seat into the kingdom. That's how you look at it. That's how you depressurize your mind. Everything you're losing and everything you're going for, you're justifying your entry into the kingdom by how much you suffer, how much you continue to suffer to get to that wide space after you get through that narrow passageway. Does that make sense? Let's go to
my spiritual fight has to justify my reward.
God, you're the Most High. You got to earn it. We just talked about how during Adam's time, nobody had to earn it. Now we have to earn it. You're going to have to put the work in. And how well you put your work in determines how much you can glory in. Which is that token to determine if you'll make the kingdom. He told you in Acts 14 that you have to suffer tribulation to get to the kingdom. This is more confirmation. Okay, give me Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 3. These are just verses about just reminding ourselves that the Most High is not going to let us down. Even though we're going through these travailed moments, he's going to still be there for us. Let's do, let's see. Let me get this real quick. Read it. Read it, sir.
Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 3. The Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish.
He says the Lord will not suffer the spirit of the righteous to famish. Take care. Read it again.
The Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish.
The Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish. Let's look up famish in the 1828. Calculator?
Famish. To starve. To
now,
kill.
I want definition 3 and definition 2.
Definition 3. To kill by deprivation or denial.
So the Most High is not going to destroy us based upon how much he deprives us. Because we know while we're waiting for the Most High, we're going to have to learn how to wait.
I feel like you're going to die.
But you're not. But did you die? There was a stupid saying back in this movie. Did you die? But the Most High is like, he's not going to deprive us to the point where you're going to just die. Read the deprivation number 3 again.
To kill by deprivation or denial of anything necessary for life.
He's not going to take away anything necessary for you to live. A lot of times we get so stressed, we tell ourselves the Most High is not fair, and the Most High is breaking me down, he's destroying me. But all he's doing is tearing down that flesh. He's not taking anything away from you that you need for your spirit to be strong. And this is what we have to understand. The only thing he's purging from you is the negative in the flesh. Okay? To kill by deprivation or denial of anything necessary for life. He's not going to famish you in that light. He's not going to take away the things you need to survive. Now I'll give you definition 2.
Definition number 2. To exhaust the strength of by hunger or thirst, to distress with hunger.
He's not going to have you hanging so bad that you have nothing to sustain yourself. Whatever he's purging off of you, he's purging pride, he's purging selfishness, he's purging hatred, he's purging negative outlook, he's breaking your opinion. He's not taking anything from you that's necessary for your spirit to be strong or for you to have your sustenance. And this is what we have to remind, because we'll convince ourselves, I got to get what I got to get, because most not going to have me drying out here forever, right? I got to do what I got to do.
You gotta survive.
I got to survive. But Most High is like, listen, he's not going to put you in a situation where you're going to be completely famished and deprived of your needs. But that insanity in our mind tells ourselves that I'm going to be left hanging. Either this person don't care, the Most High don't care, my husband doesn't care. You're like, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm not going to leave you famished without. Read 10 and 3 again.
Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 3. The Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish, but he casteth away the substance of the wicked.
So he's going to sit back and take away the substance of the wicked, not the righteous. When he's attacking the righteous, he's just purging off things he doesn't think you need. But he's not taking away things you got to have. He's just taking away the things you don't need. Yes, sis? That was a hand right there.
Yes, it's definitely.
Yes.
So the substance of the wicked, is that like material things?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. God. So even the wicked are going to get their substance taken. But when he takes it from us, it's for a different reason. It's for a spiritual reason. Like, you don't need that. All these things get in the way. They're distractions. They get in the way of you serving me. So I got to purge that from you.
So that's the battle, because we want the fleshly thing.
We tell ourselves, why do I got to lose this? I like this. Why am I going through this hell? This isn't fair. But he's purging all the things except for our needs. Our needs, he's not going to take our needs away. But a lot of times, we misunderstand our wants as our needs. We have an idea of what our wants are, and he's shaving wants off. He's not shaving needs off. And this is what this verse is saying. We're going to let this verse go and jump to 1 Peter's.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Like for me example, I have a problem with anger.
Okay.
But I'm a pretty nice guy in front of people. But I get alone in the car, I'll be like, you know what? This such and such, blah, 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 blah. Am I wrong for that?
I'm going to say this. Mosai said, be ye angry but sin not. It's what you do behind being frustrated. What are your actions? But you got to be very careful, because thoughts lead to actions.
Okay.
And I might have a thought, I might make a statement about a thought. But if I'm not conscious of that statement and that thought, it can turn into rage. It can turn into more than that. All it takes is a person to say something back.
Right.
And a lot of us, for brothers, this is why Mosai says a brother is made for adversity. When we're frustrated, we go to a brother instead of going to the person that was the author of that frustration. And dealing with the brothers, coupled with studying, helps to neutralize that anger.
Right.
and that extreme emotion. So we utilize brotherhood to kind of keep us at bay as much as possible.
To tether us.
To tether us. Because I'm not going to give you some Catholic answer. That's not gonna work, bro. Is it throw some water on it? It's gonna be okay. It's not, bro. It's not. And you gotta counsel through it. And a lot of times, as we talk about our issues amongst each other, we counsel each other, and we give each other the proper perspective to get through the anger and the frustration, and that helps to tether us. So the next day, when I got to see a person, everything's cool. Because contrary to how it might be in the outside situation, if I'm pissed off, I got to see the person at 8 a.m. in the morning the next day, and there's no getting around that. So we got to talk these things out so we can have clarity and peace of mind for tomorrow.
Right. Okay.
And that's survival. That's spiritual survival. No easy answers to that though. So let's get 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 14, and then 17 and 18.
Come. Okay, let's see. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, read that, sir.
1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 14 reads, "But and if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye."
And this is the point. There's a difference between suffering for righteousness' sake and suffering for your own negative. And that's what I was saying to Thawam about, hey, there's certain things you suffer for is because you messed up. And we have to make sure we're suffering for doing the right thing. And that's where sometimes counsel has to get involved. That we have to make sure, are we making the right decisions, operating the right way, and the Most High is putting us through these challenges because He wants more from us.
Is it a product of me being spiritually purged to bring forth more fruit?
Huh.
Or is it a product of me and my own...
Am I getting stung for rebelling?
Yeah, am I
and going astray?
Huh.
And that's what sometimes it takes a little time to figure out. Why am I getting stung? Why am I getting redirected? And so he's telling us that when you're sitting back here doing the right thing and you're getting corrected and purged, that's a good indicator. So when we're doing the right thing and we're changing, we're making the right changes, and the Most High continues to put us through more scenarios where we're dealing with that pressure and that fight and that battle, that's a good indicator to keep going. Because whom the Lord loveth, He chastens.
True.
Okay? We keep forgetting that this battle is forever. But keep reading.
Happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror.
God.
Neither be troubled.
God.
But sanctify the Lord power.
Jump to 17 and 18.
Come. For it is better, if the will of the Most High be so, that ye suffer for well-doing than for evil-doing.
That's the point.
So there's still suffering. What was the origin point of the suffering?
And we read about that in 2 Ezra 2. That the negative person is going to suffer and have nothing to wait for. The righteous are going to suffer and have a kingdom to wait for. It's the same thing. It's better to suffer for doing right than to suffer for doing negative. You have a question? Oh, I thought your hand was up.
That's good stuff.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Verse 18. For Yahushua also have once suffered for sins, the just for the unjust, that He might bring us to the Most High, being put to death in the flesh, but quickening by the Spirit.
We can't forget, we're supposed to be following Christ's footsteps, and we all agree to that. But we forget the memo. If we're going to follow Christ's footsteps, He suffered when He was doing the right thing. And He suffered continuously to death. We forget that we have to keep suffering these battles until the Most High brings us home and calls us home. If we can accept that deal, we'll stay at peace. We won't be wrestling with all this unhappiness and depression, and anger and envy. I can't worry about where the Most High is dealing with another person in their life. I have to focus on where the Most High has got me in my life. Because you know what? 2nd Ezra told me one person is crossing this narrow path at a time. So I don't got time to be worrying about this person slipping over the banana peel over here and tripping over here. And I can't worry about that. I got to focus on what's in front of me right here. So I can't worry about what I think a person is getting away with over here. I have enough. Tomorrow is the what's that verse that says
evil of atonement.
yes, it was in Matthew
634.
Huh?
634 Matthew.
Just quote it for me, Black man.
It says sufficient today is the evil thereof.
What is that exactly what it said?
I'm saying what I read.
It's close enough. I just wanted to kind of say
sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.
Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. So tomorrow is enough to worry about whatever somebody else is doing yesterday, or what they're getting away with for a month.
34. Therefore, it says, take therefore no thought for the morrow.
Okay.
For the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.
There we go. I always get the verbiage of that messed up. But what is he saying? I have to focus on what's in front of me today.
Yeah.
I can't even focus on what I'm going to do tomorrow. So if I can't focus on what I'm going to do tomorrow, then I shouldn't be focused on what somebody else is getting away with. Yesterday, or next week, or last week. The other person is irrelevant.
The more time I'm obsessing and I'm fixated on other people's scenarios that have nothing to do with me, they're irrelevant to my problem with Most High and my issues and my shortcomings, that's less time I have to
work on what's inside. Exactly. So where are we at? We're at 1 Peter 3:18, right?
I'm at the end portion of it.
Read it.
Being put to death in the flesh, but quickened by the Spirit.
Now let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 22 and verse 7. 2 Samuel 22 and verse 7. I am ready, sir.
2 Samuel chapter 22 and verse 7.
And this is another thing. This is praying and being considerate to the Most High and being conscious of the Most High in these times of distress and pressure is extremely important too. I don't think enough times we pray. I don't think enough times we sit back here and confess our issues to the Most High in prayer. David's going to explain to us a perfect strategy to help get us through battles that we're dealing with. Battles that we understand that we can't avoid. Read on.
Then Saul said unto his servants.
No, 2 Samuel. Next man.
2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 7. In my distress, I called upon the Most High.
In my distress, when I feel that pressure, when part of me wants to envy, when part of me wants to envy the wicked, when part of me wants to be angry at my condition, I call on the Most High. Read on.
And cried to my power.
And that's a major.
I'm telling you, it's so important.
Alone, because a lot of us try to prove that we're tough. We're tough guys.
We don't want to talk. We don't want to communicate. We don't want to counsel. We don't want to get things off our chest. We got too much pride. We don't think we need to kneel down and face the east.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
That's a real thing.
We're just these badass, tough, spiritual warrior killers.
Yes.
And then you know what? Most times, like, listen, I've been here the whole time, bro. You want to go do double the battle because you got pride? Now just wait.
There's been many times that I've tried to figure out things on my own, and then I go through different methods and approaches, and the answer is just, you need to pray. Sometimes the answer is as simple as face the east and pray and acknowledge your issue. Acknowledge your distress and ask the Most High to come through and help. Too many times we want to use our brains and we want to be smart guy and a beautiful mind.
Pseudo Solomon.
You have all these arrows and these strings and you get attached.
You got it all figured
out. You got newspaper clippings everywhere.
Put all his pieces together. It all makes so much sense.
Everybody wants to be but you just don't want to pray.
All in the bathroom.
You have a whole wall. There's a whole damn wall in the pursuit of the answer. Just get on your knees, idiot. Yes. Praise the Most High. You're a smart idiot. Yeah. How about that one? Yeah. You're an intelligent fool.
Idiot Savannah.
Yeah.
Special guy.
I had to bring that out, but that's us. We want to reinvent the wheel versus just set some prayers up.
That's how stupid we are. Right?
I know it is.
And then we suffer about
and suffer for months and years.
You're like, why is Lord let me go through this? Like, I told you to pray.
I don't understand what the Most High is taking me through. Why don't you send prayers up, my guy?
Lord, where's the mercy? Where's the mercy? Like, Can you just
Listen,
ask me?
I promise you this happens more times than you think.
It happens all the time.
We're joking, but how many times, you ain't got to raise your hand, do you not pray when you're stressed out? And there's not a whole lot of praying. Anyway, read verse 7 again.
2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 7. In my distress I called upon the Most High and cried to my power.
That is so important. Cry to the Most High. Read on.
Can I say one thing?
And I'm going to say, this is where the church got Jake licked at.
They went on this one because this is the truth.
The church be running circles around Israel on this one. There's some prayer warriors out there in them churches.
And they got lists out. Sister Jenkins, Sister Johnson's got prayer. This person got an ankle, they got gout, we're going to pray for that. This person got bills, we're going to pray for that.
And we say, oh, that's for suckers, man.
Suckers, man.
They don't believe the Most High.
Yeah.
Those are carnal church suckers. How about you're supposed to follow the law, do everything right in the spirit, and then pray? How about that?
But no,
because we think the works alone, you can kind of jump over the prayer part.
But you know why?
You have to do the works. You have to be in order, and you still got to pray because you still need a vent. You know, the reality is there still needs to be that relate. You still have to talk to the Most High, or at least feel that you're communicating with Him.
But let's say this: the Most High is trying to subtract our ego.
Yeah.
Our ego life is in front of our prayer life. That's the real deal. It's not just, oh man, I forgot to pray. Because I got a strong ego, and I want to feel like secretly, I did that. I did it.
The wisdom month?
It was me.
It's about the wisdom month.
It's my, it got worked out. You know, it was me, right? You know, I went through the book. I figured.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. There is ego in all of us.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, we think that we can use wisdom.
Yeah.
You got to use the wisdom and the wisdom.
This right here.
The Most High, maneuver with the wisdom. Like, okay, bro. How about the Most High will sit back here and purposely not allow a move or a plan that makes good sense to follow through, just to get you to humble down and come to Him.
Well, I've done
that
everything
happens
I can
a
do.
lot.
Right?
Happens a lot. You have it all planned in your head. If you don't go to Him and acknowledge Him, it's not going to be listened to. And this is why this aspect of using the prayer and the communication of the Most High to help pull off this pressure and this anxiety and anger is so important. It's a missing piece to a lot of our people. But let's keep reading. Verse 7 from the top.
2 Samuel chapter 22 and verse 7. In my distress I called upon the Most High and cried to my power. And He did hear my voice out of His temple.
Listen, the Most High hears that. And that's the point. Do you believe that He hears? Do you believe that if He prays, like He says in Revelations, our prayers are like incense to Him?
Yeah.
And he opens up these vials of our prayers and He listens to our prayers. Do you believe it? And are you willing to practice it until you do believe? That's a very important aspect. Because a lot of times the Most High will give you confirmations because you prayed. Sometimes we just need confirmations that what we're doing is the right thing to do.
Most High always be coming. Well, he be coming through for me. I know. I be barely wanting to pray, bro. And I'm like, why I do talk to Him? He's like, Most High will have somebody talk.
You know what we say? Most High knows what I need.
Exactly.
How many? Most High knows why I gotta sit back and keep praying. Most High knows what I'm asking for.
Why I gotta pray? You see what I'm going through. That's you're a little angry.
That's anger. He's angry. He's an angry guy.
You're a little angry. That's a little angry. Why I gotta pray about it? You see
Most High knows.
You see what I've got. You see. You see I'm lacking over here. What is going on? And so we're brats.
Yeah.
We're brats in the spirit.
Yeah. But He still wants us to get on our knees and pray.
And you're gonna need to submit.
I'm gonna keep drying you out. Anyway.
You're good at that.
And that's the truth. Let's go to Psalms chapter 4, verse 1 through 8. Psalms chapter 4, verse 1 through 8.
Psalms 4.
Psalms 4. We're gonna try to get these out of the way. I'm gonna get at least 3 or 4 more. We got time.
Psalms chapter 4, verse 1. Hear me when I call, O power of my righteousness.
He said, hear me when I'm praying. Hear me when I reach out, Father. Read on.
Thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress.
He says, you enlarge me when I'm in distress. What does that mean? This is what David's saying. He says, when I'm distressed, when I'm going through pressure, when I'm suffering. Now this is obviously predicated on if we're living and doing things the right way. So he's saying, I'm enlarged. You enlarge me when I'm in distress. What does that mean? What is the stress an indicator of? When you're on point and you're doing the right thing, and the Most High is providing a distress to you, what is it an indicator of?
That you didn't pass the test.
And he's about to enlarge you. He's about to enlarge you.
That's how I look at fear. 'Cause I, for myself, I've always known when I was the most scared, that's when I was closest to blessing. Whenever I decided to push through that wall of fear, that's when the Most High always opened the door.
And this is why I'm bringing this point up. He says, thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress. When I was in distress, when my back was against the wall, that was the indicator that the blessing was right around the corner. If I did things the right way, if I stayed in order, if I didn't fight the distress, if I didn't fight the stress, the blessing was right there. And the distress is the indicator that the blessing is on the way. Just like when you read about in the Gospels, when that demon, before that demon left that soul, that demon rent that spirit. Then it left. So before that person had peace in his life, that demon rent and tore at him before the blessing came and he left. It's no different than our battle. The battle was the worst right before the blessing comes. The distress comes, then the blessing comes. Your hand in your hand.
Rented him what? Physically?
Yes. That demon rented him physically. Then that demon left. So it's a reminder that before that demon leaves you, before that negative situation, before the blessing comes, there has to be that distress before the blessing.
It's going to shake your life
the
up.
The pain comes, then the blessing comes through. The distress hits you, and that's the indicator. If you handle it right, the blessing is right around the corner. Yes, sir.
They rented him, and they thought he was dead.
It rented him to the point of death. And then he arose and he was okay.
That's a strong point, because it says, strive for the truth unto death. And the Most High shall fight for it.
You got to get pushed to the brink in your distress before the blessing comes around, before he enlarges you. It's just a reminder. The enlarging comes after the distress.
Can I pull a movie reference? I'm not a movie reference guy.
A movie guy?
I suck at movies.
It's going to be some 90s stuff.
It's going to suck. But Michael
it's like
Douglas.
Juice. Remember Juice? I'm sorry.
You ever see the movie The Game?
The Game?
The Game with Michael Douglas?
Yeah.
And
with Vigo, him and Vigo?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't. It's called The Game. This is one of the rare movies I watched. From my brother put me on The Game movie. But they played these series of practical jokes, but they were malicious. Practical jokes.
Okay.
Where he was he was losing all his money, and he lost his job, and he lost everything. And they're and then everybody around him is a part of the act. Yeah. They're all acting.
Right.
Right. So he thinks this is real.
Right.
And then he decides to kill himself. He jumps off, and they end up catching him in this thing, and they all clap. Yeah. And he was he was really going through these spirits.
Yeah.
He was really experiencing. They were acting, and they were giving false reports, but he was really experiencing in his head.
Right.
So for us, these spirits are the same way. These spirits, they feel real, and they are. But if you press through these spirits, then the Most High will show His power and will defend you, and you'll be restored back to normal. But if not, you will perish in your doubt. You will perish in your distrust. You will perish in your hatred. You will perish in your fear. You will perish in your negative. You will perish in the spirit of looking for escapes.
Right.
Will perish in that. Perish means to spiritually die.
And the whole time you're having on this narrow walk, you're continuously having faith that the Lord is with you.
Most High has special tests for every one of us. And you got to pass your particular special test for you.
Right.
Okay, listen. Let's go to your verse, and then we'll go back into Psalms 4. Give me Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 38.
Oh, you want that one? I sent you a different one. Okay.
What you got?
Yeah, 39.
Oh, I got it late, bro.
The prayer.
This is
I don't want to. I don't want to.
You do 38, then that's fine. So Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 9. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, read that.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 9. My son, in thy sickness be not negligent, but pray unto the Most High.
Keep going.
And he will make thee whole.
So, listen, pray to the Most High in your sickness or in your battle. This is obviously, you could talk about it from a physical perspective or a spiritual sickness. He'll make you whole. Read on.
And he shall make thee whole.
Keep going.
Okay. Verse 10. It says, leave off from sin.
And this is important. In the midst of us praying, in the midst of us acknowledging the Most High in our distress, leaving off of sin is what sets up the snare where the Most High defends you. You can't just be praying and you're full of negative and you're doing a bunch of negative. You have to sit back here, send your prayers up because you've been laying off of sin. And you need the Most High to acknowledge you. Read on.
It says, and order thy hands aright, and cleanse thy heart from all wickedness.
This is what you have to do to really, for your prayer to actually stick. Cleanse your mind from all your wickedness. Leave off from sin. Then you can get your prayers in and they can penetrate. Read on.
11. It says, give a sweet savor.
Meaning they give a sacrifice that the Most High is pleased with.
That's important.
You got to give the Most High what He wants, not what you want, what He wants. There's another chapter in Ecclesiasticus. I don't have it off the top of my head. I think it's 34. And talked about specifically about what type of offering to give the Most High.
Has never been?
Yeah. No. I think it was.
No, that's this one right now. There's never been is right now.
But no, it's another one. But keep going.
Yeah. It says, and a memorial of fine flour, and make a fat offering as not being.
Exactly. So what is he telling us? He has give the Most High what He wants. So when you approach Him, you'll get the response you need. Okay? We're going to let that go and jump back to Psalms. Let's get back to Psalms chapter 4, verse 2. Let's read one again from the top.
Psalms chapter 4. Hear me when I call, O power of my righteousness. Thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress.
We are enlarged when we're in distress. That distress, if we do what we talked about in Ezekiel 38, we cleanse our heart, we leave off our sin. When we're in distress, that's an option. That's an opportunity for the Most High to enlarge us spiritually and carnally. He's going to bless us for our sacrifices, man. Read on.
Have mercy upon me and hear my prayer. O ye sons of men, how long will ye turn my glory into shame?
You know what that also means? In the process of us being distressed, people are going to make you feel bad. Whether it's people from the outside in the world or it's people in Israel. You are going to get shamed. You're going to get let down.
It's a law.
You're going to get taken advantage of in the midst of your distress. In the midst of your distress. And can you absorb this distress? Absorb the shaming? Absorb the hatred and the cruel nature that people give to you?
For Christ was the Pharisees.
For Christ's sake.
For Christ was the Pharisees. For David, it was
Saul.
Political.
And it was all Israel that was trying to kill him and snitch on him.
For Moses, it was his own people he was trying to help out.
Most of the time, it's your own people.
Yeah.
Your foes are of your own what?
Household.
There you go. So read verse 2.
O ye sons of men, how long will ye turn my glory into shame? How long will ye love vanity and seek after leasing?
Seek after leasing. I saw that earlier. Leasing is not what you think it is. Not real estate situation.
Not temporary.
How are you going to try to focus on your paper though?
So leasing is falsehood.
Falsehood and lies.
Yeah. So how long are you gonna hold on to your lies?
Wow, that's a great one.
And this is what he's saying. But the problem is this. This is where there's disconnects between the offended and the offender. Because the offender wants to hold on to a lie to justify why they're going to continue to be cruel to you.
True.
So the question is, when you're being taken advantage of, when people are doing you wrong, the question you ask them is, damn, how long is this person going to hold on to this lie about me? How long is this person going to hold on to this negative outlook about me? How long are they going to hold on to this delusion?
True.
This strong delusion is a damn lie.
It might be forever.
Because these delusions is why people treat each other so bad. How long are you going to treat me this way? But you know what? This is what you're asking yourself in the middle of your distress. Read on.
Verse 3. But know that the Lord has set apart him that is godly for himself.
Okay, but you know, when you feel isolated, when you feel the Most High has separated you from everybody else, you're right. Most High said he separated the godly for himself. He is isolating you. And when he isolates you, you're going to be the what? The target. This is an aspect of distress. The isolation that comes from standing up for what's right. And being hated because of what you stand for and what you represent.
We have an expectation, and it's a false
That
expectation.
everybody loves us, everybody appreciates us.
That when you do good things, you get
Good
a
thing
reaction.
comes back to you. Yeah, that's not true. A lot of times you do good things, you're hated for it. And people attack you. And they create these false ideologies about you. But he's telling you, you know, this is a part of your distress. Know that the Lord has set apart him that is godly for himself. Read on.
The Lord will hear when I call to him.
Once again, it's a reminder that I'm isolated. The Most High has allowed me to be isolated. And he's going to hear my prayers. Read on.
Stand in awe and sin not.
He said, stand in awe and sin not. Sit your ass and wait. Stand in awe of my power and wait. Because that's what you're standing in awe of. Learn to wait for me. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to come through and be there for you. But once again, I'm glad you put out that Ezekiel. You have to be in order for these prayers to be listened to. But what did he say in verse 4?
Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed.
Fight your thoughts. Sit on your bed, fight your thoughts and wait. Because that's who you're going to be fighting while you're waiting. While you're waiting, you're going to be communing with your own heart. Your heart is your what? Mind. And your mind is crazy and sick as hell. So while you're sitting back here waiting for the Most High to defend you, you're going crazy in the mind. Because you want to be angry at people. You want to quit. You want to run away from the battle. You don't want to be here. I'm going to get out of this house. I want to get out of this situation. You like sit on that damn bed and fix your face.
And do it.
Just like fix your face, huh? Get in the book, study, and wait. Read on.
It says, commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still.
And be still, man. Deal with it. Because this is what I got you going through. You know, deal with the shame. Deal with the ridicule. If people are going to sit back here and they want to lease after you, they want to lie after you, they want to hold on to this negative stigma that they got for you, let them do it and be still.
You have to sit here and confront your situation. We want to,
because we start getting out of pocket with the Most High because we want to be mad that we're in this situation. He's telling you this is a form of distress.
I'm outraged.
I'm out because these people are leasing on me. They lying on me.
Yeah. They lying on me.
They lying on me, and I'm mad. That I'm being lied on, that people are looking at me, seeing the worst in me. I'm not that person that they're accusing me to be.
Or it wasn't that way.
It's not that way. Why do I gotta submit myself in this situation? He's like, listen, he says, how long will you turn my glory into shame? How long will you love vanity and seek after my leasing? But know that the Lord has set apart him that is godly for himself. He has set you apart. That's why there's so much clashing. Because you're going one direction and the others are going another direction. Why can't you accept that? Stop trying to fit in and accept you're going to be the oddball in the crew. That's for all y'all young dudes in high school too. Trying to fit in and shuck and jive with everybody in school. They're not going to like you. At very best, y'all in high school, y'all going to have what? You're going to have associates. Don't look for besties and be best friends forever. You're not going to get it.
You're not on the same page.
You're not. I'm telling you, you're not going to get it. You're not. Most High sets you guys apart too. You're going to have people that you might eat lunch with, but when you walk away, they're going to be like, told you she was this way. You gonna get it.
That's the way we live.
You gonna get hate from women, from dudes. That's it. You ain't gonna have these best friends forever. That's not because you weren't chosen to be aligned with them. Just know that.
Not the same species, man.
We gotta give you some Little Wayne answers. We're not like talking about Martians and stuff like that.
You look the same.
We're not built the same. We're not built the same spiritually. Like, how about that? We're gonna keep it the spiritual thing.
It's better record.
I'm just everything's gotta be hip hop this guy, man. It's hip hop songs.
Out from the same cloth.
I know. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Same cloth. Let's read verse 6.
You don't want 5?
Okay, let's do 5.
Psalms chapter 4 and verse 5. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness.
But once again, we talked about offer the sacrifices of righteousness. Do things the right way. Read on.
And put your trust in the Lord.
And put your trust in Him.
That was the purpose.
You can't control. Not once do you read about doing something to these people that are shaming you. Not once you say retaliation and cussing them out and rolling your neck and getting out of the situation.
Show them what it is.
I'm going to show you. Listen, I'm not going to bring that point. I had a thought out. No, I'm not going to do that. You get the point. The point is not retaliating and taking matters into your own hands. Read on. It's about waiting on Him. Read on.
Verse 6. There be many that say, who will show us any good? Lord, lift up the light of the countenance upon us.
A lot of times, what question we ask is, who will show us any good? Who's going to defend me? How many times we say that? Nobody's defending me. I want to be defended. How come nobody's looking after me?
Where's justice?
Where's justice? I want some tears. I want some salakias. I want some I was wrong. I want some snotty noses and crying. I want some apologies. There's got to be consequences and repercussions. That's what I want.
Yeah.
But that's what you're not going to get.
Right.
You're not going to get somebody crying and snotting. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I was wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I was evil. I was El Diablo.
I was wicked.
You're not going to get that, man. Let's keep going.
But it's never coming.
Never going to come.
My respect.
Yeah.
Verse 7. Thou hast put gladness in my heart more than in the time that their corn and their wine increased.
He says the Most High puts gladness in your heart. You're supposed to get your peace of mind from acknowledging that the Most High is there for you. It's not about retribution and you getting retribution out of your own hands. He says, thou hast put gladness in my heart more than in the time that their corn and their wine increase. A lot of time, our happiness, our perceived happiness, is when we're in our blessing times, prosperity. But the blessing is when the Most High comes through for you during these times of distress. This should be the greater appreciation that we have for the Most High during times of distress. Read on.
Verse 8. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep. For thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety.
The Most High makes us dwell safe. Our peace is in Him. Not retribution, not payback.
Not having the last word.
Not having the last word, not fighting back, not defending yourself. He's telling you the solution. Let that go and go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 verse 33 to 35. This also gives a little more insight about mentally how I'm supposed to deal during these times of distress. Ecclesiasticus 39 verse 33 through 35.
Come. Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and verse 33 reads, all the works of the Lord are good, and He will give every needful thing in due season.
This is the mindset you got to have when you're in distress. Can we all accept that all the works of the Lord are good? Every distressful situation we're going through is good. Every battle in front of us is good. It's an opportunity to get closer to the Most High. Everything we're challenged with is a good thing. Can you spin it into a good thing? Read on.
So that a man cannot say, this is worse than that.
Because we do that all the time. We always say, man, this is bullshit. This is worse than this situation. This is unfair. I can easily see this is some BS right here. He's trying to teach us to not look at life that way. Not to look at our circumstance in this comparison nature. I'm going to say it again. 34. Read verse 33 again.
Come. All the works of the Lord are good.
Can we accept that mindset that all the works of the Most High, everything the Most High is putting me through is good? Everything I'm battling is good. Read on.
And he will give every needful thing in due season.
He's going to give me relief when he's ready. He's going to give me coverage when he's ready. He's going to give me what I need when he's ready. Not when I want it, when he wants it. I can't sit back here and operate waiting. I'm not going to give until I get help. The Most High is like, listen, you give and you operate, and then I'm going to come through when I'm ready to come through. A lot of times we operate and work, we only work when we know we're going to get certain type of help. We have to serve the Most High and do His will and not expect anything out of it. He's going to come through when He's ready. Read verse 34.
So that a man cannot say, this is worse than that.
Because that negative-minded person is always comparing this interaction with that interaction. Is always seeing the worst in things. Most High can't work with somebody who's comparing this with that. This is worse with that. This is unfair. This is messed up.
Because they're in
I see inequity here. That's the kind of mind the Most High can't deal with. You know what? To the pure, all things are pure. But to the defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure. This is a defiled mind in verse 34. I can't see the good in anything. All I see is bad. All I see is how I'm being wronged. He can't work with that spirit.
Everything's a knock on me.
That
was a knock on me. He got that card, knock on me. He got that rib, knock on me. He got a paycheck, knock on me. He got
it's inequitable.
He got a tip, knock on me.
Mm-hmm.
He lost something, but still knock on me.
The whole thing is negative. And he's showing the difference in the mindset.
I interpret everything around me as a knock.
Yep. Or one thing is unfair, this is fair, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
Read on.
For in time they shall all be well approved.
Read on.
And therefore praise ye the Lord with the whole heart and mouth, and bless the name of the Lord.
The only way you can praise the Most High with your whole heart and your mouth and bless the name of the Lord is to accept that verse 33. All the works of the Lord are good. What is the Most High teaching me? What is the lesson that He's giving me? If I can learn that, then am I really going through distress? Am I really dealing with heavy levels of pressure? No. Because it's all good. It's all a blessing. Let that go and jump to Psalms chapter 107 verse 1 through 9, then 27 through 30. Psalms 107 verse 1 through 9.
Come. Psalms chapter 107 verse 1.
Hold on, let me get it. 107 verse 1. Yes, read that.
Come. Oh, give thanks unto the Most High, for He is good, for His mercy endureth forever. Let the redeemed of the Most High say so, whom He hath redeemed from the hand of the enemy.
So He says, let the redeemed of the Lord, will the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom He hath redeemed from the hand of the enemy. Read on.
And gather them out of the lands, from the east and from the west.
So let's first of all make sure we understand how the Most High operates in dealing with us. He redeems us from the enemy. A lot of times we get taken out of situations. Sometimes the Most High pulls us out of relationships. Sometimes the Most High takes us out of a situation we wanted to be. But in actuality, He was removing us from the enemy. A lot of times we think we're losing things, but sometimes the Most High is establishing an addition by subtraction situation.
Yep.
A lot of times the Most High is removing something that's negative for you, and it's not good for you, away from you, so He can work on you.
And that enemy also means opposer, or
adversary,
in opposition to your spiritual benefit.
So sometimes the Most High is removing somebody or something that's adversarial to you.
Yeah.
Okay? And this is how He redeems you. He redeems you out of the hand of your enemy. He redeems you away from whoever's an adversary to you.
Can you accept?
Read on.
And gather them out of the lands from the east and from the west, from the north and from the south.
So He takes us out of different walks of life. He separates out of different circumstances. Read on.
They wandered in the wilderness in a solitary way. They found no city to dwell in.
Now listen, we can look at this and parallel this circumstance in dealing with Egypt, how He pulled us out of Egypt, and He put us in the wilderness, and we were in a solitary way. But this verse said He's pulling us from the lands of the east, from the north, south, and the west. So this is not necessarily talking about Egypt in its entirety. What He's doing is showing us a parallel of how He pulled us out of Egypt and how He pulled us out of the world. Okay? He pulled us out of the world and Egypt. Similar scenarios. And in pulling us out of the world, Him redeeming us from the enemy, He has to pull you out of your comfort level and put you in a solitary place. He says after He redeemed us from the enemy, took us out of our comfort place that we perceived as comfort, but was really an adversary to us. Then verse 4, read it again.
They wandered in the wilderness in a solitary way.
Then we wandered in the wilderness in a solitary way. Read on.
They found no city to dwell in, hungry and thirsty, for their soul fainted in them. Then they cried unto the Most High in their trouble, and He delivered them out of their distress.
He's explaining to us how He always augments our situation. This is not just talking about Egypt. He pulls us out of a situation that we're familiar with. He puts us in the desert, in an arena where we have no control. And He forces us to do what? Pray to Him and rely on Him during our distress. And then once we rely on Him and go to Him for our distress, then He comes through and saves us. This is textbook how the Most High develops us. He pulls us out of a predictable arena that we have control over. But He's really pulling us out of a place that's weakening us. Enabling us. And He puts us into a new circumstance where we don't know what we're doing. We're in a solitary place. They found no city to dwell in. Hunger and thirsty, their soul fainted in them. He's saying the Most High is putting us in situations where we're not accustomed to, where we're not comfortable, where we're not accustomed to, and He's pulling us out of these situations, out of our comfort, to put us in an uncomfortable place. Then He says, then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and He delivered them out of their distresses. This is how the Most High operates. He pulls out of comfort. He puts us in an uncomfortable situation with the purpose of us cleaving and crying out to Him so He can sit back here and deliver us. If we understand that this dynamic is how He operates on us all the time, we won't be so angry when He's pulling us out of our comfort zones. Because that's really what this is metaphorically. He pulls us out of comfort. He takes us to a land of uncomfort, distress. The purpose is to be in this habitation of distress and seek Him.
And go from the house of feasting to the house of mourning.
But this is the process. This is how He develops us on a consistent basis. He constantly pulls us out of something that we know and puts us in the unknown. And once you're in that land of the unknown, you cry out to Him and He comes through for you. And that's how your souls are confirmed. What are you confirmed in? You're confirmed that the Most High is, and that He is a rewarder of them that what?
Diligently seek Him.
Yes.
That's the whole point. And this is how He builds our faith up. By pulling us out of our comfort, putting us in discomfort. Us cry out to Him, He comes through. Now we trust Him a lot more this time than before. And He constantly does that, and that's how He develops our spirit. Does that make sense? Read on.
Verse 7. And He led them forth by the right way, that they might go to a city of habitation.
How the Most High developed Israel in Egypt is how He does for us now. It's still the same thing. He pulls you out of what's corrupting you for what you're comfortable in, and puts you in an arena that you're uncomfortable. And He's teaching you to follow Him. That's how you learn to follow. When you're uncomfortable and you're not comfortable with your surroundings, and you start following Him that way. That's how He can trust you. He can trust your intentions, and you can learn how to follow Him. Then He comes through for you. Then He puts you in a situation or a habitation that's more suitable for you. And then you know what? Once you're comfortable in that habitation, He does it again. This is not just a one-time thing. This is how He develops.
I'm asking this question. If you have money, you don't want your money to flip? You had $100 and you invest your money, you don't want your money to give you return? People be tripping like, oh, why Most High got to keep doing it?
Most High wants usury.
Why do you keep flipping money? Why do
you want to get the most out of your
dollar? You keep what? Most High supposed to have all His children, invest all spirit to them, and then flip them one time.
Got it.
But when you get income, you want to see your money flip in perpetuity.
Got it.
What do you think He's doing?
Got it. He wants that investment to keep growing. Let's keep going.
Verse 8. Oh, that men would praise the Most High for His goodness and for His wonderful works to the children of men.
The problem is this: do men praise the Most High for this process? He said that this process is goodness. Him taking out of our comforts, delivering us from our enemy, bringing us into desolate places, forcing us to follow Him, and then Him coming through and setting us up in a situation of the city of our habitation. Remove us from a situation, put us in an unfamiliar territory, have us go through distress, and then He delivers. And He says, oh, that men would praise the Lord for His goodness. That's goodness. Pulling you out of your comfort, making you trust in Him and wait, that's a good thing. What do you got, y'all?
No, you're good.
Yeah, I got distress. Yeah, I get it.
You're good.
Cut. So, read verse 9.
Verse 9. For He satisfieth the longing soul, and filleth the hungry soul with goodness.
But He has to keep putting you in a situation where you long for Him. Isn't the Most High a jealous power?
Come.
He has to constantly put us through cycles where He takes us away from our comfort zone and puts us in fearful scenarios so we can learn to long for Him and pursue Him. This is how He continues to nurture the relationship. Does that make sense?
Come.
He's saying that we should praise the Most High because He invests this type of energy and time into us and not the rest of the world. This is what makes us special. This is why I said the world was made for our sake. But this process was also made for our sakes. I got to come on. We're going to leave it at this one. This next one. 1 Corinthians 11. No, I'm sorry. I'm not done with this verse. Salakia. Give me 27 through 30. Because from verse 10 to like 26, it talks about the negative person and how the Most High punishes and makes and puts the negative person in chains out until they sit back here and get humble and get right with the Most High, and then He relieves them. I'm trying to keep things positive. But if you read it, He tells you that the rebellious ones, He just keeps them in chains out and makes them suffer until they sit back here and change.
They humbled out.
Good. You know what? Let's read a couple verses. I might as well. Read verse 10 real quick.
Verse 10. Such as sit in darkness and in the shadow of death.
The ones that are negative, that have negative outlooks and operate in darkness. Read on.
Being bound in affliction and iron.
Listen, and this is why the Most High, this is some of our lives, we just can't get out of the same cycle of unhappiness. Because ones that are negative, He keeps you in afflictions and bonds. and you can't grow. You're just suspended in thin air or midair. You can't get nothing accomplished.
Yeah.
That's a sign that the Most High's got his hand on you and he's stinging you. When you can't grow, you can't move forward. You're just stuck in the same rut. Read on.
Verse 11. Because they rebelled against the words of the Most High.
So the Most High puts us in spiritual iron. And he bounds us with affliction and iron. Because we rebelled against the Most High. Read on his words. Read on.
And condemned the counsel of the Most High.
Because a lot of times we hate the counsel. We hate the counsel that forces us to stay humble. We hate the counsel that pushes us to be in order. So for those who fight the counsel, fight the order, he keeps you in bounds. Another way he keeps us in bounds, we talk about how our money is constantly in holes.
Yeah.
We can't get out of the red. We can't achieve nothing. Read on.
Therefore he brought down their heart with labor. They fell down.
How does he break Israel? How he punishes us? He keeps us just working. You know why he says? Because he said in another chapter, especially in Jeremiah, it was like, if you're not going to serve me, you're going to serve the nations. Your ass is going to work for somebody.
But not to benefit you, not to your
But you're not going to benefit you. Because Israel will work to benefit themselves, just not work to benefit the Most High. Read on.
They fell down, and there was none to help. Then they cried unto the Most High in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distresses.
Now I don't want that, because after they humble down, then the Most High comes through for them. I just kind of want to jump to verse 27 now.
Psalms 107 and verse 27. They reeled to and fro, and staggered like a drunken man, and are at their wits' end. Then they cry unto the Most High in their trouble, and he bringeth them out of their distresses. He maketh the storm a calm, so that the waves thereof are still. Then are they glad, because they be quiet. So he bringeth them unto their desired haven.
Listen, he's going to sit back here and pull you out of your distresses if you're humble and you're willing to follow. That's the point. We all are given distresses, travail, but if we're humble, we're praying, we stay in order, the Most High will pull us out of our circumstance. That's the trust, and that's the point. That's why we're here today. Yeah, we're all catching hell, we're having to deal with that pressure, but if we just withstand it, stay patient, stay humble, we keep praying and keep our intentions pure, he'll keep pulling us out of the distresses that we're facing. Last verse, go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and 17.
1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 17.
And this deals with the communication side of things. We know we read about having the willingness to pray to the Most High and communicate to the Most High and humbly beseech the Most High. But what does the Most High also give us as a venue, an avenue to get through this stress or the stressful times? Read that.
Now in this that I declare unto you, I praise you not, that ye come together, not for the better, but for the worse.
He says, listen, I praise you not that you come together, not for the better, but for the worse. The truth is this. A brother is made for adversity. And when we're going through challenges and difficulties, we have to be able to rely on sisters and brothers to help keep us strong. And our ability to successfully navigate through prayer, counsel with brothers and sisters, and personal studying will help get us through any obstacle that's in our life. But I think it's very important not to just lean on the one thing that you're comfortable doing. If you're comfortable counseling with your husband, cool, do that. But you still got to counsel with sisters. And you still got to open the Bible and read it for yourself, based off what your husband and the sisters are telling you. For brothers too. If studying is your thing, cool. But you got to counsel too. And you got to pray too. And if you take all these approaches together, there's not one distress you can't overcome. You understand? Then we're going to leave it at that. Any other questions? All right. Israel Shalom, and I will see you. Well, Shalom Shalom have it on Wednesday, and shalom there, everybody. Love y'all.